A murder at a home that property records show belongs to Rob Reiner in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles. This originally started as a death investigation. We're told the robbery and homicide unit of the LAPD is responding to that scene right now. Senior leadership of the department is also responding to that area. Air 7 is over the scene right now.
Oh boy.
Right now, again, awaiting confirmation of the identities of the victims in this murder investigation now happening at the home of Rob Reiner.
Oh geez.
Storied Hollywood career, both as director, writer, actor, and more. He has been doing this for decades. I think most.
Oh my God. Why is it always Rockingham?
Starring as Meathead on All in the Family back in the 70s. He won 2 Emmy Awards for that role, and then went on.
This is so triggering. It's happening all over again.
Producing scene, as we see the police tape is up across.
Oh my gosh.
The street in here in Brentwood, leading up to the home of Rob Reiner and his wife.
So we do know that senior leadership is responding to that scene. So this investigation will likely go on for several hours now, as investigators with the Los Angeles Police Department respond there. Again, you are looking
Oh
at
my gosh.
right now of the home that property records show belongs to Rob Reiner and his wife. This is in the Brentwood community. All of this is.
I can't believe this is happening all over again.
As a death investigation, and according to sources telling ABC News.
If anybody can hear me, let me know in the chat.
Rob Reiner, also notorious for being politically active, a Democratic powerhouse, supporting candidates and causes. We don't know if that will play into this investigation.
Oh my gosh.
When you hear the phrase senior leadership,
I just, you know what? I can't believe I've lived to see a day like this again.
Serious again. We don't have any confirmation on who the
I have so many connections to that street.
home of Hollywood actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife.
This is just awful.
Gathered there in the streets. They have stretched out that crime scene tape across the driveway or the neighborhood inside the Brentwood community.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we will continue to.
This just happened while, oh hi Kermudge. I'm just so upset right now. I was doing a live on Whatnot and I saw like a notification come across my phone saying that hi Empty Pan, hi Kermudge. I was on a Whatnot live and one of those notifications came across the top of my phone, but I was on my show so I couldn't really see, and it said actor Rob Reiner had passed away. And now this is live in Los Angeles. This is happening right now. Apparently there are 2 people dead in his house in Brentwood on Rockingham. And I used to work on Rockingham. In fact, the company I worked for before I went out on my own, we were in the old Peter Lorre estate, and Rockingham was one street over, and we were there when the whole OJ thing happened. And I have 3 different clients that lived on Rockingham at that time, all in the entertainment industry. I did a lot of work on Rockingham and the Peter Lorre estate, which has since been torn down. It's been replaced. There was a big hill that went up the hill, and if you went up the top of that hill, you were like in the backyard of the house across the street from the OJ house, and it was just like, I mean, I saw his wife the week before she was killed in his Ferrari. Late for a date was the plate. I went through all of that, and I worked with most of the detectives that worked for LAPD West LA division that handled that case. I didn't know Furman, but I knew many other detectives. I worked with them like at the Spielberg house and on the TV show gigs that I did. In fact, the producers for those shows also lived on Rockingham. Heck, even Phyllis Diller lived on Rockingham. Another client who still might be there, so I'm not going to mention her name, major movie star, she moved there. I'd been in her Beverly Hills house, but she moved to Rockingham right after I left that company. And apparently there's 2 people right now that are dead. Oh, hi, Kelly. There are 2 people, a man and a woman. Kelly was filling me in. She is my, if you guys don't know Kelly, she's my friend from junior high school. And she's my mod on Whatnot. And I was right in the middle of a live show, and I was actually selling a few items. And thanks, Kelly, for buying again. You don't need to keep buying. But I told her that I saw the notification across my screen. And, you know, it seems to me that the Menendez thing might have happened on a Sunday night, because I actually was awake when that happened. And I was in Sherman Oaks at the time. But as I was telling Kelly, there's a house right behind me that's the old Gary Marshall house. And the Marshalls still live there, but Gary's passed away. And that was Rob's former brother-in-law. That was Penny's brother. Gary is in the house like 5 houses behind me. Melissa McCarthy is 4 houses behind me, and the Gary Marshall is 5 houses behind me. And I go to his theater every year for their like they have like a elephant sale, you know, but it's all outside at the theater. It's really great, and they get a lot of really good resale items there. But he is Penny Marshall's brother, and Penny is Rob's ex-wife. In fact, Rob Reiner is the adopted father of her daughter Tracy Reiner. Excuse me, let me take a drink. My voice is shot because my Whatnot show that was only supposed to go an hour went for 2 hours, and I had to get off the air. My iPad crapped, and I didn't have a place to plug it in. Now it won't plug in. And I was like, hey, Kelly, you know, I just saw that Rob Reiner's dead. And now what they're saying here, because I need to back this up, I don't want to say somebody's dead without knowing, because I've done hundreds of death investigations, including celebrity death investigations. That's like my specialty. And like, there's 2 people that are dead in a house that is owned by him. It is probably him, sadly. I hope I don't cry. Oh my God. This is just so sad. Yeah, you can't send yellow hearts on YouTube. But you know what you can do on YouTube, Kelly? You can hit a thumbs up. Yeah, there's no, well, maybe you can now on these. This is a vertical live. I don't know what you can do. They keep changing things. I'm not monetized, so who the hell knows? Jeez. You know, and it's a Sunday night, and all my news people, like I know some of the entertainment news people, I need to contact, I have a friend, I can't name her here either because she's too well known, but she's in the news industry here. So now they're saying 2 dead at Rob Reiner's Los Angeles home, and that is registered. And let me tell you, he's not renting his Rockingham place. You know, people just, they don't do that. He used to have a place in Encino a million years ago when I lived in Sherman Oaks, because I would see him almost every morning driving his kids to school when I was like going to work. Like that was back when I worked out of a Northridge office, but you know, I was in the field, and I'd go over to a McDonald's because we didn't have anything in Sherman Oaks at that time, and I would go to the Encino McDonald's and I'd be like, hey Rob, and you know, but I never said anything to him, you know, but I would see him drive by, and I used to see him and Rue McClanahan always in the same spot every morning, and then I ended up working with Rue years later. In fact, I worked with all the Golden Girls except for B, sadly. She's my favorite, but yeah, she lived over there too. But they all moved to Brentwood. Like Betty, I worked with Betty White. She lived in Brentwood, and I didn't work at the OJ estate, but I worked in the house 4 houses away. And I think that person, well, it was a couple, and one of them's passed now, but I think the wife is still there, so I'm not going to say the name. And then one of the movie star clients had moved from Beverly Hills over there, and I don't want to say her name. But it's always Rockingham. I mean, I went through all of that because the police, they were searching for the bloody knife, and they would fly the helicopters over the properties in Brentwood, and they would use mirrors. Like, let me show you something like this. They would do this from the helicopter, and they would flash mirrors, and you'd be like pulling into the office, like it was a big estate, the Peter Lorre estate, and there was horse stables there, and all of a sudden, you know, the car against the windshield, it would be flashing. Like, what is this flashing? Like, this is before they had lasers. And it was the LAPD choppers and the detectives, and they were up there with the mirrors, you know, like this, and, you know, trying to find a knife that was obviously dumped in the garbage at LAX. And now one of those residents, one of those Rockingham residents, Cato, he's over in this area now, because he shops at my grocery store and he goes to my bank. So it's like, it's such a small world. I have known So many people on that street. I've worked so many, like, really big cases on that street. And just a few streets to the east, there was a mansion that Sally Struthers' husband made her buy when she didn't want to, and it belonged to Rita Hayworth. And she was renting out rooms at that time, but I didn't know it. And I was like, oh, if I could only have a room in Brentwood, because I have to drive from the valley every day, like when I have to go into the office to drop off cases, and that drive was killing me every day. And then a lot of times they would say, on your way home, just stop by so-and-so's house, and that was up in the hills above Beverly Hills. So I'd take the Beverly Hills route home instead of the Sherman Oaks route home, and it was just like, and then I'd have to go over to Amelia at Universal. It was so much, and I would be like, now I know about that house that she had for 18 years, and she was renting all those rooms, like, that would have been perfect for me. That would have been so fun. She said her best friends thought she was crazy because all these strangers lived in her house, but that's very, very close to Rockingham. She hasn't lived there in decades. She sold that house when her kids went to college, but I have so much history over there. One of my clients that lived in the Hollywood Hills up above West Hollywood, Cato, he's really good looking. I didn't really realize that till I saw him in person, and that was pretty recent. And he just got married too, like just the other day, he got married. Oh man, I have so much history on Mandeville and Rockingham and Brentwood. Oh, jeez. I can't believe it. I wish it wasn't Sunday night so we could see some live news. There's nobody on the air right now. There's a little 2-minute blurb that was by ABC 7. You know what? I'm going to go to that, and I'm going to turn up the volume, and then you guys can hear what I have heard. Oh, gosh.
Prescription weight loss plans through Hertz include
I probably lost my audience rambling about all this. Oh, really? Runyon Canyon, yeah, that's not too far. And he did have a place up there, because you know who lived in that place? The Nelsons. Ricky Nelson and Tracy Nelson and Gunnar and Matthew lived in Errol Flynn's old place. I know what it looks like. Oh my God, yeah, did you know the Nelsons? It says, as of December 14th, 5 p.m., it is unknown if Reiner was involved in the deaths of the two people or if he was one of the victims. I'm just reading what it says. This is Fox. And they're showing LAPD, West LA Division. They've got the yellow tape. Oh my God, this is just like it's happening all over again. Yeah, I think that's when the Nelsons lived there in the 80s and the 90s. Well, his parents lived actually near me in Toluca Lake. They're long since passed, but Ricky ended up buying the Errol Flynn house before he was killed in the plane crash. Yeah, there's not even a reporter there. This is just helicopter shots. They've got music playing in the background. It's just aerial shots. It says death investigation underway in Brentwood, which is in Los Angeles. Actor Rob Reiner was listed as homeowner. As of December 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it is unknown if Reiner was involved in the deaths of the two people or if he was one of the victims. Oh my gosh, Curmudge, I didn't know that you lived in this area at any time. Yeah, that's not far, Runyon Canyon. That's just up the Hollywood Hill. I'm just to the north of there. Oh no, they found a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman. The article said Reiner was 78 and his wife is 68. Oh my God. Oh, what was the actor, the very famous movie star that just him and his wife died in New Mexico? I have a bunch of videos about it. See, now I'm going to go blank because I'm so like frazzled over this. Big movie star. In fact, they wanted him for Mike Brady, but they were like, who is he? I never heard of him. And then he became a huge Oscar-winning actor, and he was found dead in Santa Fe with his Japanese American wife. And I had a case that was very similar to their case, where the husband and the wife were found together. Oh my God. And like I said, I can't turn on the iPad. I can't look at the name of the, very famous guy. He's in Superman. Somebody put it in the chat. Who am I speaking of? Gene Hackman. Thank you, Kelly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Gene Hackman. Oh, I was here for the riots. That was, oh my God. In fact, there was going to be a riots part 2, but the public didn't know. And I didn't believe it was going to happen, and it didn't, but there was a day that was supposed to happen. And that day, I actually worked on Rockingham and Mandeville, and I worked at the Spielberg estate that day. And he was in Poland at the time because he was doing Schindler's List. And I was up there 3 times, and on the 3rd time I was like, F it, I'm not driving back down the hill to Brentwood. I'm just staying up here for the rest of the day. And me and the guard, because there was hardly anybody there. So it was just the 2 of us. And we had the whole place, It was just like, because the riots were supposed to happen. And everybody in our company was on duty that day because riots part 2 was supposed to happen. So we had people on Rockingham, we had people on Mandeville, and I was like, they put me like in an office on Mandeville in the Peter Lorre place to like organize it. And like all these actors and producers and like all these famous people had like double, triple security that day. Even people that normally didn't have security had security that day. And we all made a ton of money that day. And I told my boss, nothing is ever going to happen. And you're just going to make all this money. Oh, you saw it coming and got out of town. Yeah. It was not surprising. Well, this is, I want to know, like, what's going on. I mean, his former brother-in-law, Rob's former brother-in-law's house is right behind mine. And his family still lives in the house. The Marshalls. I believe his wife is still alive, and I know that his sons are still alive. I know that Scott Marshall lives there because I see him coming in and out of the estate. But him and Penny, they hadn't been married in many years. He married a younger person and had a bunch of kids. And I don't know if that's wife number 2 or number 3. I'd have to look it up. Oh, you were painting houses in Malibu? That's awesome. Boy, there'd be a lot of work now because they need to rebuild Malibu and the Palisades. The south end of Malibu is basically gone. One of my race car driver clients lost his house out there, and then there's a celebrity family that they're not my clients, so I can name them, but I did an event with them, Soleil Moonfry and her kids, and they lost their beach house. Yeah, but rich people problems, But still, I knew them, and they were very sweet people, and it was very sad that they hadn't been in that house very long either, and it's gone. I was more upset about my client because we did a lot to get things handled for that house. There was some incidents that happened, and it took us like 15 years to get it all straightened out. And then right when everything was getting straightened out, like with the lawyers, the house burned to the ground. There's so much work out there right now. And with my disability, I can't do anything. But if you're in the construction trade, this is where you need to be right now, because the people in the Palisades, they don't want to leave. Just like the people in Altadena, they don't want to leave either. And now the big old bears are displaced there. But, I have so much history on this street, and there's so much history on that street because of the O.J. Simpson situation. And there's 2 clients that I think still live there, but they were clients of the company that I worked for, and that was during the time that I got my license, and then eventually I transferred into my own business so that I could afford to, keep a roof over my head. But man, we had, I mean, I spent like half my career in like Brentwood and the Palisades and Malibu, and one of my clients that moved over there since she passed away, I knew her, she was a big movie star, she passed away last year, knew her for 35 years, but she lived over on the, she lived on the street where Marilyn Monroe's old house is. That's not, Brentwood's pretty small. It's just a little neighborhood of LA. But there's different neighborhoods within Brentwood, Kind of like my neighborhood. There's the city, there's the neighborhood, and then there's the sub-neighborhood. And in LA, that's like, it's very important, but for people that don't live in LA, they're confused. They're like, I don't understand why this isn't coming up on my GPS, and it's like, well, that's because it's the sub-neighborhood of the neighborhood of the city. And, just let me tell you how to get here. Love the Palisades in Santa Monica. However, when I was in that area, too many crackheads back then. Oh, wow. I have a place on the water in Venice right by Muscle Beach on the boardwalk. Oh, my God. That's so cool. Yeah, Venice, they've had to clean that up because it got really, really bad. And excuse my language, but we have a really shitty mayor right now. She's the worst mayor we've ever had, and things are just a mess. But they've had to clean it up. Oh wow! Were you right on the beach? Oh wow! Oh, the shoreline crips. Yeah, Venice is rough. And most of Santa Monica is bad too. But there's a part of Santa Monica that used to be near that Peter Lorre estate where I worked for almost 6 years. And it was like Sunset Boulevard. I don't know if you know the streets, but Mandeville, Sunset, and Allenford. And they all come together. And on one side, on the Mandeville side, you have Los Angeles, Brentwood. And then when you cross that light at Allenford, then you're on the Pacific Palisades side. But if you turn left on Allenford, in front of there was a junior high school there that's in Pacific Palisades. Then it runs into North Santa Monica. And that was like, that part of Santa Monica is like, there are a lot of clients over there too. That's like the place to live. The rest of Santa Monica, it's all like homeless people and druggies and vagrants laying passed out on the sidewalk. But that part of Santa Monica that backs into the Palisades and backs into the back end of Brentwood, like that's like, other than where I'm living in a cheap, very low end rent controlled apartment that I only meant to be in a year. I sold my house in Studio City. I was going to be here a year, but then I got sick and I got cancer, and my whole life exploded or imploded, and I'm still here. But the street behind me is Celebrity Row, but I'm not in those houses. So, but because of my career, I know every street in Beverly Hills, Brentwood, Palisades, Malibu. That's where I spent so much of my career. But I'm very disturbed that this thing is going on right now at the Reiner house, and there are no news shows that are on right now, and I'm just doing it through the internet. Oh, here we go. Breaking news, Channel 7. Okay, here we go.
But there are a lot of resources
Gonna turn it up.
from the LAPD.
Let me know if you can hear.
Responding in right now, but it is very early. Not much more than that is known, even among detectives who are going in. But there's
Here we
a
go.
lot of work that they're going to have to do tonight.
And Alex, we are now 3 hours after this call initially came in. LAFD says that first call for help came around 3:38 this afternoon. It's just 6:50 right now. That sounds like a long time, but in terms of an investigation like this, that's barely any time at all. What can you tell us?
Oh my
You're
gosh.
Right, yeah, look, this is it's still very initial at this point. That from when they got that call to when the LAFD went there, and then when
Can you guys hear this?
came in. And then began calling out investigators who are at home. They were not on duty, and they're coming in right now.
Good afternoon on the campus in Providence, Rhode Island. We
Okay.
are also following breaking news from Los Angeles. A murder investigation at the home of actor and director Rob Reiner. 2 people were found dead in a home that belongs to Reiner and his wife. Reiner is the son of Hollywood royalty with a successful career of his own, appearing on screen in All in the Family in the 70s. Then becoming one of the most prolific directors in Hollywood with films like When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, and The American President. We're going to return now to regular programming. We'll have a complete...
Oh my God. Now, let me just tell you, from a detective standpoint, just because LAPD, West LA Homicide is there, and they're conducting a homicide investigation, that does not necessarily mean it's a murder. It could be a double murder, could be a murder-suicide, it could be natural. I mean, everybody thought the Gene Hackman thing was murder. And from the very beginning, I thought, you know what? It's probably not, because I actually had a very bizarre case in North LA County out in the desert that was extraordinarily similar to the Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. I think, was that her name? Arakawa? Was it Arakawa or Harakara? Now I can't remember. But Betsy, I had a very, very similar case to that. So just because you have homicide robbery detectives there does not mean that somebody broke into the house or was led into the house and killed them. But it may be. Right now, I would classify this as a death investigation of 2 people. But if it's a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman, based on what, I think it was it Jeffrey Button that came in here and mentioned that he's 78 and his wife is was 68. Let me go through. Oh, it was the empty pan. Okay, the empty pan was here. It wasn't Jeffrey, it was the empty pan. I'm sorry, I know it was one person in the gold community. I apologize if you're still here, empty. Thank you, Rob. Now they says it's a murder investigation. But, there's no way that the police are going to come out and just say, like, what's going on if they've only been on the scene for 3 hours. So let me just reiterate that this is a death investigation, but it is being investigated by LAPD robbery homicide. I used to know a lot of guys in that division, but I would assume that most of them are retired now. I've worked with a lot of those guys. At the Harris estate, at the Spielberg estate, on all the TV shows. Oh no. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just have some information. Oh my God. There's a notice that just came on the phone, and it says that Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered by their son. That just happened to a doctor within the last week or two in Simi, murdered by their son. It says they were murdered by their son. I used to see those kids in the car in Encino when I would pass them. When I lived in Sherman Oaks, I would see these kids in the car. It says murdered by his son. Oh my God. All that money in it, you can't take it with you, you know? Oh, there's a picture of him on the news right now with his kids. Let me turn this up for a moment. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I'm not saying that any of this has been verified.
No, not really. At least in my time here, my 21 years here, if this is in fact a murder, which it appears at this point it is, if it were to involve Rob Reiner as one of the victims, that this would be a very high-profile murder. We've obviously covered numerous deaths of celebrities over the years.
Oh my God.
Harry or Michael Jackson or so many, the list goes on and on.
Oh, I remember I did a lot of work involving the Jacksons. I can't even talk about that one. Oh my God.
But again, we don't know if he was one of the victims at this point. We know that the home belongs to Rob Reiner and his wife.
Oh.
We know that the LAPD responded, that they are on scene right now, that it's a murder investigation.
Yeah, and Kelly, I haven't done my, I had to, as you know, I had to discontinue my Whatnot show early, so I have not done any of the shipping yet.
Specifics about the scene, about where this is playing.
This happened like right in the middle of my Whatnot.
For a lot of activity in the street and the driveway
Yeah,
outside.
it's for
As Joe
sale.
mentioned, we're not seeing a lot
It's
of that
sprinkles.
happening.
Yeah,
I might keep her.
At least what I've been told is
She's
that
on,
this was inside
she's in
the
one of my
home.
videos. You'll see where I got her.
Called the death investigation
It's
in
kind
the
of a
home,
sad
and they
story,
realized
Rob.
That it was clear at that point that it was a murder, and then the LAPD was called in. So it seems like it is inside. Now, just historically in covering these, when
And I can't see where that pop-up came from because I don't want to go out of this, I don't want to go out of this video right now.
Nothing is going to change there. They want to make sure that they process.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a boy and a girl with her.
Nobody contaminates.
I gotta look, because I know more about his daughter that he adopted. Penny Marshall's daughter, Tracy Reiner, was adopted by Rob when she was a little girl.
They can document the scene correctly, and it seems like that's probably what we're seeing right now, and that only those who need to go in will go in, and that it will seem to be from the outside where we will all be seeing it.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube because I got in trouble for reused content, so let me take it off the, I have no makeup on. I hadn't even had my shower today, and I need to wash my hair, so you'll have to excuse my appearance.
Minutes with us here tonight answering those questions. We'll check back with you later on.
Oh my God, I hope this isn't true,
Top of the hour, this scheduled broadcast is nearing its
but
end.
I'm afraid it probably is.
A murder investigation at the home of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle.
Oh, thank you, Rob.
Bodies were found at this home.
Oh, and you said something earlier about the Christmas card. That just flew right by, but you're welcome. I've been thinking about you guys. I saw that video twice about the house. And I know you have a lot on your plate to deal with. Well, you could be in my shoes and have a horrible surgery coming. I have another horrible surgery coming. I don't know what day yet, so I'm just trying to live another day, you know. Every day is a gift, but I have some rough times ahead coming.
This has been breaking news on.
You know, there was even a shooting at Brown yesterday, and that's my, I never went there, but that's my birth state. It's getting hard, you know. Oh, I don't want to come home with a stent hanging out of my kidney, you know. I got to talk to the doctor about that, but I need to find out when the surgery is first. And then I got to hope that I can survive because my cardiac health isn't good, and I'm going to have to go off several of my meds. I hope I don't stroke out in the recovery. I just, I don't even want to think about it right now. It's ruined the holidays for me. I know, Bondi Beach. I watched this guy that, he's a treasure hunter, and he's from Bondi Beach, and he lives in Amsterdam now, but he goes back home in the winter, and like I saw him and his girlfriend, and they just made a post about it. Yeah, that's just terrible. The Bondi Beach situation, Brown University, my home state, but I don't know. Why is it Rockingham? You know, there's so many connections I have to that street, to my career, and I've been to so many of the houses there, and I was there for the whole O.J. Simpson thing, and then, of course, in my neighborhood, I was here for the whole Robert Blake thing. That happened down the street for me, and his house was near my place, and I went through the William Shatner thing with his wife dead in a swimming pool. That was That was, you know, what, a half a mile, maybe quarter mile away. It was walking distance away from that. It was walking distance away from the Bonnie Lee Bakley murder, and I was, you know, literally the one house over in the Brentwood situation, and just like, oh my God. Whenever these things blow up, now they're showing the Australia thing. That's just horrible. You know, it's summer there. Well, it will be in a few more days. Oh, wow. Let's just hold off on everything until I know what's going to happen. Yeah. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Yeah, there was many Jewish people were murdered yesterday in Bondi Beach, which is the most famous beach in the world in Sydney. Well, it's the most famous beach in Australia. I guess it was a mass shooting. And like 30 or 40 people got hurt, and many, many people died. And it was for, I'm trying to remember if it was one shooter or two shooters. And it was right after the Brown thing happened in Rhode Island, and then many of the Jews were murdered on Hanukkah in Bondi Beach, and it's probably one of the safest places in the world is Australia. Oh, it was father and son? Yeah, I hope I don't have a stroke, because I'm going to have to go off my blood thinner. They said I found out that it's 5 days before the surgery, but I won't be able to go back on it after the surgery because I'm going to have bleeding from my kidney, and there's an 80% chance. The thing that bothers me the most is not the surgery. You know, if I'm meant to survive it, I will. But imagine a cord. Look at this. See this cord? Now imagine a cord like this that's 10 to 12 inches long. And on the top of the cord, and it's blue instead of black, it's like this. But it has a pigtail hook on the top, and then on the bottom, it has a pigtail hook. Now imagine, whether you're a man or a woman, that in a surgery while you're unconscious, under anesthesia, and remember, I have 2 heart arrhythmias still, so I'll be having my heart arrhythmias, I'll be unconscious, without my blood thinner, and someone's going to take a scope, and they're going to put this inside of me, you know where. And the top hook is going to be resting on my kidney, and the bottom hook is going to be resting on my bladder. And I'm going to have to drink 8 ounces of water per hour. And every time the bladder empties and it shrinks, it's going to push down on that hook. And if I stand or sit or roll over, I'm going to have to bend down to clean the rabbit box and the cat box. Every time I move, that wire is going to shift, and those hooks are going to grab me. And based on my research, I found out that if you have the situation going on in the lower pole, which is where my situation is happening, that the surgery itself, it might only be a 35% chance of working. I might need a second procedure or a separate, entirely different procedure. I don't know any of this until I know that I'm having the surgery. I do know that. That's been confirmed. But it has to be approved. In the meantime, let's hope I don't go into the emergency room with a pain that's worse than childbirth, which I can't even imagine because I haven't been through that. And I'm still on my blood thinner, and I have a bleed out. Like, they need to get this surgery scheduled. And of course, everybody in LA is sick right now, and I'm going to have to go to like umpteen specialists and umpteen lab tests and get a doctor that I don't even have anymore to sign off on a form that says I'm healthy enough to sustain this. I will probably, I don't know. Let's just not jump the gun. I'm having the surgery. They told me on the phone it's December or January. And, you know, it'll probably be affected because of the holidays. Well, you know what? I haven't had a holiday. I've not had a holiday since 2015. 2016, 2 or 3 days before Christmas, my cat died. 2017, the day before Thanksgiving, my ex-boyfriend died. We won't go into that. 2018, I was already very, very sick. Could barely work. And by 2019, I had a stage 3 cancer diagnosis. I recovered from that. And then in 2022, one of my besties passed away. I was involved with that, with the police. And by 2023, my heart gave out. They said damage due to the red double chemo. I've had multiple procedures, an ablation. I was just in an ambulance mid-November twice because of the separate arrhythmias that sent my heart going crazy. That still hasn't been straightened out. They withdrew me from one of my meds. I have to get this thing. I have a stone the size of a green pea that's stuck in my kidney. I hope it stays stuck until I can get into the operating room. I'm gonna go bankrupt because of everything that's happened. I don't know, December or January, they said. But you know, there's a wait for everything in this town. There's, you know, when I had cancer, I had to wait months just to start chemo. Then when I finished my chemo and the doctors wanted surgery within 4 to 6 weeks, or 2 to 4 weeks, I had to wait like almost 6 weeks just to have the surgery. Then you have to wait for the radiation, then you have to wait for everything. And this urologist, even to get the test results back, you have to make another appointment. I haven't even been able to talk to the doctor. I saw my own test. I read it myself and I was like, oops, here we go. Surgery's coming. It's time. And I had to wait another week just to talk to the nurse to say, oh yeah, you have to have surgery. You know, you think somebody could call me instead of me having to read my own report and get all the information? Like, come on. And, you know, the worst thing that could happen is something happens to me here and the bunny and the cat can't call 911 and they die while I'm laying here dead. That's my worst nightmare. At least with my involvement with the police and my friends finding her dead, I was able to save her 2 cats and her rabbit from death. And the authorities left one of the cats behind, believing that there were only 2 animals in the apartment when there was 3. So, my life, the last time I had a Christmas was 2015. And this is 2025. And there's not one this year either, especially if you've seen the video about the liquidation.com lot. I mean, one day I'll laugh about it, but I'm not laughing about it now. There goes the budget. And speaking of that lot, Callie, I'm just gonna have to remember I'm gonna put the watch in your box. And I, you know, usually I do my shipping right after the show, but I'm just so blown away by this Rob Reiner thing. I know I'm gonna have to get off this at some point and get the shipping done. Because I won't be here Tuesday to meet the mailman. I will be in the cardiology office telling him about, guess what's happening now? But he's not the electrical guy. So he's the plumber. There's the plumber cardiologist and there's the electrical cardiologist. And the electrical guy, which I can't see until April, he's the one who's gonna have to make all the decisions. Because I can't not go off the blood thinner if I have the surgery. And I have to have the surgery or this thing could kill me. But apparently I'll be in worse shape after the surgery because they won't remove it during the surgery. They'll just blast it and then I'll bleed. And it can affect the pancreas. It can affect the liver. It can blow your spleen apart, you know. But this is a really top-notch doctor. This guy actually did 2 surgeries on my ex-boyfriend years ago. So I know he's a really good doctor. But he's not going to give a you-know-what about me freaking out about the stent. I don't want that stent. Even if I have to just like lay on the bathroom floor in just worse than childbearing pain to pass the leftovers. I do not want the stent. But apparently there's so much swelling during surgery that if they don't put in the stent, then even the little tiny granules of sand cannot exit. And I know that I won't do well with a stent, because I know my body and I know everything that my body's been through, and I know that I can barely walk as is with everything that's happened with my heart and cancer, and you know, that's going to be the to think that I've survived all of this, and you know, something the size of a green pea. Yeah, I don't have a green pea, but something the size of a green pea could be my ultimate demise. And then today, I saw my typist online, one of my typists for my company, and I guess it was last night, their cat died because a kidney stone, and it caused bleeding, and I don't know if the cat just died or they had to put it down, and I was like, oh, jeez, like, you know, my Thai family, you know, the mom's supposed to go with me, but, you know, she's sick all the time now. And she's just like, oh, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy. And then I hold up the cord and I'm like, and I hold up the ruler like, okay, this is 12 inches. That's going to be in my kidney. You know, like with the hooks on the end. Yeah, I have to get, you know, while I'm waiting for approval, this thing could decide to move. And then they can't do it at my hospital down the street. I have to go to Encino, you know, and I won't be able to drive, you know. And the lady that's driving me, she can't see very well anymore, and she's got all kinds of problems. And I have another friend, and her daughters they're actors, and she's got a lot going on right now, so I don't want to ask her, like, hey, can you come all the way to Encino just to pick my sorry ass up? You know, probably be, you know, God forbid, they're going to have to wrap me in a fucking diaper. Excuse my language. Like, am I going to be in a fucking diaper? Because they say when you have that stent, there's no control. Like some guy on Reddit was like, if you have to pee when you have that stent, you have about 6 seconds to make it to the bathroom. And I'm sure they won't give you whatever prescriptions that they think I need. They probably won't. I'll have to go fill those somewhere, and I won't be able to stand in the line. You know, oh my God. Should I bring towels and wrap myself up in towels in the car? Will I be in the right mind to eat, you know, because I'm going to be under anesthesia. And the hospital anesthesia doesn't get to me usually, but, you know, if it's not a good anesthesiologist, I could come out of there sick. And can you imagine having to hurl when there's a rope in your kidney? Like, oh my God. And they say it could be, you know, I could have to have that thing in my body for a couple of weeks. And of course, you know, I need another $2,000 by January 1st because I don't qualify for the pharmacy assistance anymore. Because, you know, I worked too hard during my detective career and I made too much money apparently. And therefore my SSA or SS Social Security disability payment is too high. So I don't qualify for Medicare assistance. I don't qualify for Medicaid. I don't qualify for SNAP. And my pharmacy assistance that I didn't even know I had was taken away from me last year. But I think I'm getting an extra $55 January 31st. And it's like, yeah, 55 times 12 is not going to add up to the $2,000 and the copays. And I still haven't paid off 2025 yet. And then I did something really, really stupid, Rob, if you're still here. I bought that, if you have seen that video, I bought that liquidation.com lot. All I can say is if somebody wants to send me something for Christmas, send me some winning lottery tickets. Oh my God. Or why don't you guys just play the lottery? And if you win, you can put some in my, I think Lisa in Florida still has my cancer GoFundMe going. It hasn't seen money in years, but I think it's still up. I don't know. She hasn't been well, so I haven't been able to speak to her lately. She's got a bad ticker as well. So I guess this is what old age is about, huh? But you know what? There was a party yesterday out at Dick Van Dyke's house in Malibu. He's still doing great. He was 100, or he is 100. He lives in a really famous house out in Malibu, and apparently, I didn't know this until a couple years ago, but that house actually was the home of Margot Kidder, way back a long time ago. I don't think she lived there when I moved back out to LA. I think she had already moved to New York by then, but and then Montana. But yeah, that was Margot Kidder's house. And also some guy who played in the E Street Band for Bruce Springsteen lived in that house. Margot Kidder lived in that house. And Dick Van Dyke has lived in that house for, God, at least 40 years, I think. I mean, he was a pretty young guy, I think, I think he was like probably in his 50s when he bought that house. And he's 100 now. And he's still getting around. Amazing. And then somebody like poor Rob Reiner has been possibly taken out by his son. I hope that's not true. But you know what happened earlier this week in Simi? A doctor and his wife, they were taken out by their son in their driveway. His wife's name is Michelle. Let's turn this up.
For some sort of medical emergency. When LA firefighters showed up,
Hey, I mentioned you early, Jeffrey.
They say they found a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman dead inside the home.
Oh.
Those are the exact ages of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. But tonight, LAPD has not confirmed the identity of the two people found dead inside the home.
We are awaiting word from the LAPD right now. A press conference is imminent with some top members of the LAPD.
Press conference.
It will not be
Press
LAPD
conference
Chief
is imminent.
Instead, Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton will be handling the
Deputy
press
Chief
conference
Alan
and
Hamilton,
confirm
LAPD
the
Deputy Chief.
identities of the victims and whether there are any potential suspects out there at large or in custody. But again, this all playing out at the Brentwood.
Let's
home
see when the
of
press
Rob Reiner
conference
and
is.
his
It looks
wife.
like I may not be able to do my shipping tonight.
Either Rob and Michelle Reiner, his wife, are the victims, but their ages do match. This is a complex or an area in Brentwood where Rob Reiner's daughter lives across the street from there in a home with her children as well. They are well known.
Who was it that told me it was Rockingham?
It looks like we have some officials approaching the podium, the microphones right now.
Okay.
Brentwood. We're going to go live to our camera on the ground to see if we can listen in to what LAPD.
Let's see what we got going right now.
Hamilton has to say. We might have some glitches in our camera right now, but it looks like there are officials approaching the microphone.
Okay, officials approaching the microphone. Let me get over. You guys can see this? Sorry about the camera.
Stop, then we'll get going.
Ring lights on the screen. Sorry about that.
Okay, we do have some trouble with our signal coming out of Brentwood right
now.
See if we can
ABC7,
pop
you
that back
suck.
up. We also have a reporter on the scene. Kevin Ozebek is there, and if we miss anything live, we will get it to you as soon as it comes in and keep you updated on what is happening as the LAPD is updating us now from Brentwood.
This crime scene investigation has been.
Oh, come on, ABC7.
Talking about 5 hours. Also
Are you serious?
On Chadbourne Avenue in the Brentwood community. Again, this is the home of actor and director.
Now they're saying Chadbourne?
Wife Michelle.
Who was it earlier who texted me Brentwood?
Any questions regarding what occurred here
That's the
tonight?
audio.
I will not be able to provide information in a lot of areas that questions may be getting asked, but I'll do the best I can. So at approximately 3:40 this afternoon, Los Angeles police officers, along with the Los Angeles City Fire Department, responded to the 200 block of Chadbourne Avenue here in the city of Brentwood.
Oh, Chadbourne.
Determined that there were two deceased individuals in the residence. the Los Angeles Police Department is now conducting an investigation at this residence here on Chadbourne, and that investigation will continue over the coming days. We will not be releasing any information regarding who was found deceased in the residence, because that will be done by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. So if there are any inquiries regarding the identity of the individuals that are deceased inside of the residence, that information will come from the LA County Coroner's Office. The current death investigation that is being conducted by the Los Angeles Police Department is going to be handled by the Homicide Special Section of Robbery Homicide Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. That investigation will move forward through the night, and tomorrow morning we will probably have additional information regarding what occurred here on Chadbourne. And our investigation moving forward. We will not be releasing any further information regarding the investigation that is occurring here in Brentwood tonight. Our detectives will be responding along with our Forensic Science Division and our Technical Investigation Division investigators to conduct a full crime scene investigation and determine the appropriateness of the investigation moving forward. At this time, the Los Angeles Police Department is not seeking anyone as a suspect or as a person of interest or in any other manner, and we will not be doing that until we conduct our investigation and we move forward.
Gosh, I don't know what to believe.
Right now, at this early preliminary stage of this investigation, if you have questions that I can answer, I will answer them. I would just ask you, please, if we do not have the ability to answer the questions, that you remain patient over the coming hours and over the coming days.
Okay, I don't want to get in trouble here with YouTube, so we're going to go off this screen for a moment. So it's not Rockingham. You'll just have to scratch the first hour of my broadcast. It's not Rockingham, it's Chadbourne.
So we understand that the person reporting was here at the location. We're not going to release any information regarding the identity of that individual.
And Tracy Reiner lives across the street.
Hold on. One at a time, please.
Well, they didn't say it was Tracy. They just said it was his daughter.
There are going to be many family members interviewed. I'm not going to confirm whether someone's being interviewed at this time or not. We're going to try to speak to every family member that we can to get to the facts.
Yeah, I can't see the notice because I'm on live, but I don't know
I'm sorry.
where the notification came from that said it was his son. And who told us earlier?
We have not identified.
It was on my Whatnot show. Somebody said it was on Rockingham. It's not Rockingham, it's Chadbourne.
So at this time, after we determine, so I need everyone to understand something. In order to comply with the legal process, before we do anything here, we have to get a search warrant, because there are issues regarding standing at this residence. So as long as those legal requirements are met.
Now they're ordering search warrants.
Now, when I tell you that we have not identified a suspect, it doesn't mean that we're not working the case.
Oh, you said it was Rockingham, Kelly? Well, obviously you heard that somewhere, because you wouldn't even know that that street existed.
There is a crime to be reported, and if that person is a suspect in that crime. Did that, no, hold on. Did that answer your question, sir? Okay, go ahead.
I bet most of the guys I worked with in this division, me in the private sector, working with them in the private sector, I bet they're mostly retired by now.
Specifically to your first question, no one has been detained. Specifically to your second question, no one is being interviewed.
No one has been detained.
We're not gonna comment on the injuries at this time. That information will be coming forward in the
Oh my gosh,
days
hold
as
on.
publicly releasable.
There's another
If
pop-up.
it's part of the investigation and it is not publicly releasable,
Hold on.
we will not be releasing it.
I just thought I saw something that said fatally stabbed, but I'm not sure.
This gentleman is next.
Oh my God, this is just getting worse. There's a pop-up that says it's his son, and there's a pop-up that says he was stabbed.
We have to obtain a search warrant for the residence. As soon as that is complied with, we will be conducting a full crime scene investigation of the interior and the exterior of the residence and the surrounding neighborhood.
Just to follow up, is there somebody from the family not allowing access inside the home right now?
That's inconsequential. We have to comply with the legal process. It doesn't matter whether the family allows us in or not. Hold on, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Has the family been notified of what?
I don't even know what to say at this point.
I believe the family's aware.
You know, you guys need to check into my YouTube channel. I haven't been very active lately because of all this health stuff.
Ma'am, go ahead.
But I did do a short today. You guys need to see that. I didn't know the woman, but my bestie did know the woman. So there's not a lot I can go into. But see today's short. Make a little comment if you can. It's a very sad story.
We will bring them to justice and we will take them into custody.
Now, I just...
I can't speak for the mayor, but...
And you know what? I hate you, Mayor Bass.
The Los Angeles County Coroner will identify the decedents that are inside of the residence. And that will be... Hold on.
Of course, she's probably at a cocktail party.
And the official identification of the decedents inside the residence.
Yeah, she could be in Africa with her boyfriend.
Ma'am?
This is just going to be
There's a legal process whenever you're going to conduct an investigation at a crime scene in the state of California.
Oh my God.
You have to meet in order to conduct a thorough investigation. So you don't want to start a crime scene investigation and then
I'm sorry, I'm just listening to this guy and I'm trying to watch the screen too.
Right now. So we're gonna hold on. You asked a question. I'm gonna answer. So we have
This
to
guy is
comply
getting
with the legal
pissed.
process. Once the warrant
He's had a
is
long
signed
day,
and
I can
delivered,
tell.
we will have access to the crime scene. We will conduct a full, thorough, impartial investigation. We will conduct additional investigations in the neighborhood around this area. And then with that information, we will go forward with the investigation, whether it is a death investigation or some other type of investigation. And I do want to be clear, hold on. I want to be clear with one thing. Wherever we can be transparent and provide information to the public.
Got some of his relatives literally live in the house 5 houses behind me. I'm not kidding. His former relatives through his first wife, Penny.
No. That's going to be determined by the coroner. The coroner's not here.
It's funny because they have a big M in front of their house and people think it means McCarthy.
Yeah, so,
And it's like, oh God, I won't say it, but they have the wrong house. It's, the M is for Marshall.
They make a determination that detectives are needed. They will back out.
It's funny. People are so funny.
A sweep of the area to make sure that it's safe, and then we will comply with the legal process.
Everybody's like, go down the street and look at the house with the M. It's like, that's Gary Marshall's. God damn it. It's just, oh, people wake up. It's just, I can't even believe it. Oh, I didn't know you were a journalist.
We'll be obtaining the warrant in real time very shortly, if we have not obtained it already. In terms of the coroner's ETA, I cannot.
Yeah, that's how I work detective jobs, and I tell if I have to go work for a lawyer, a couple of times I had to do defense cases, and I hate defense cases for lawyers, and I'm like, listen, I'm going to investigate it, and I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm going to tell you like it is. Oh, I see you did some sort of a comment. I'll have to go see it later, but thank you, Kermudge. If you guys haven't seen that short, go see the short.
Nothing has occurred inside the house. The house is in the exact same state it was when the officers arrived, just to be clear.
Well, if they haven't been in the house, where are these people? Where are the bodies?
I can't hear you. Oh, are we safe in Brentwood? I'm sorry. Yeah, so we have officers here at the scene. We have officers in the area. We're not looking for anyone in the Brentwood area at this point. We're not looking for anyone because we're still working on that part of the investigation. Oh, hold on. Someone over here.
That's true.
Oh, I don't understand. What report about who? Okay, I don't know. People magazine or people in the. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, that did not. Hold on. That did not come from the LAP. Go ahead.
Can you give us a sense of how many witnesses, if any, you guys have been able to talk to? Are the people you've been able to already?
So where are these dead people? If they have to get a search warrant to go in the house, where are the bodies? Does anybody know where the bodies are?
I'm seeing the neighborhood and speaking to residents that live around this area, so that's part of our investigation. In terms of someone that may have information
Oh
about
my
what
God.
happened inside the residence, we're not going to release that information. That'll be part of the investigation.
Look at the daughter or kids.
There's been no reports from the neighbors regarding hearings.
I bet it's Tracy.
That we can release to the public.
I'm trying to remember how many kids I think he has a son and a daughter with the second wife, but
Do we have?
It's been so long since I saw them, like, in
establish that
Encino.
soon, and then that'll be part of the investigation. The
That was
part
a
is
long time
publicly
ago.
releasable, we will release. The cause of death will be released by the.
And
LA
I'd see him
County
every
Coroner.
morning, like in the same spot, like while I was going
We're
over to get my
looking to
breakfast.
Get the information from the LA County Coroner when it's available. Somebody over here had a question. Yes, ma'am.
And he always had a smile on his face.
We didn't say.
But I never got to meet him.
Either.
I did meet Carol O'Connor. I forgot to tell you guys that. I worked with him on In the Heat of the Night, and I got to meet him just briefly, but we didn't really have time to talk because he was filming and I was doing an emergency investigation, and we were on set, not at the studio, but we were on location, and we were filming in City Hall, and it was a huge production. And he looked at me and he said hello and he smiled and I smiled and I waved and I was like, I didn't get a chance to go talk to him, and I've regretted that every day that I didn't. So I have met Carol.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
And then I knew Liz because I worked with her years later.
LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton giving somewhat of a
But never met Rob and never met Sally.
You would say update, but not much was updated from the LAPD themselves, being very cautious. Something we have been talking about.
Oh, they're not going to name names. They're not going to say if somebody was stabbed. They're not going to say if the son is a suspect.
Where 2 bodies were found, they deemed things safe and then backed off the property and are waiting for.
And they must not be in the house because they're waiting for a search warrant to get into the house.
Right, so I think that's one of the big headlines in there, is that they have not entered the home since that initial entrance sometime around 3:45 this afternoon.
I think because the bodies may be on the property on the outside.
They said no one has.
If they were in the house, but I think that they must be on the property. And the house is all lit up for Christmas.
No one is being interviewed, but there was somebody who chimed in and asked if residents in Brentwood are safe.
So you said it was you, Kelly? Who heard Rockingham? Was that you, Kelly? Because I was like, not Rockingham, not again. What is it about that street? Now you're saying it. Now they're saying it's Chadbourne. They're on Chadbourne.
They're not seeking anyone as a suspect or a person of interest. So
yes, I've never met him, but he's a very good friend of the Spielbergs and super guy. And his ex-wife, Melissa Matheson, is an outstanding person.
At this point, and you also heard a question. Someone asked. People is reporting that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were killed by their son. That was People Magazine. That is being reported out there. That is fully unconfirmed.
Okay, it's People Magazine that's reporting that they were murdered by their son.
Not confirming or denying. They're not saying anything. They're just simply calling this a death investigation, not revealing the victims, the identities of the victims in this. But that is not the case for.
You know, this brings me back to the Phil Hartman case. I remember when that happened. I was coming home and I saw like the helicopters, and I'm like, now what? And I turned on AM 1070, and they were at Phil Hartman's house.
This is directly from Mayor Bassina's statement. She says, quote, "This is a devastating loss for our city and our country. Rob Reiner's contributions reverberate throughout American culture and society." Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is also weighing in.
Yeah, the Speaker Emeritus once again.
Oh boy. So Karen Bass has actually said it's a devastating loss
It's hard to think of anyone more
for our city and for our country.
Field and endeavor they pursued. So again,
Oh, I have never met Bob Bela.
With what the LAPD is saying, they are not confirming the identities of the victims. In fact, they're not even really confirming that there has been a murder at that home.
Yeah, there's so much, you know, as a detective, all we can say is that there's 2 people there that are dead. And it must be on the property and outside the property because they have not entered the house. It's a very big house. It's a big estate. If it's Brentwood, it's probably Brentwood Estate section of Brentwood.
As you and Jordan were talking about, we still have.
I don't think I had any clients on Chadbourne, so I'd have to look.
Investigation is very early. I think
It was reported to me during my whatnot that it was on Rockingham, and then I just was like, oh my God, I can't do my show anymore.
Inside of this Reiner household, we asked them, are the family members not cooperating?
Oh, I don't know the Augie Bush beer guy.
They kind of answer that question by saying it's standard procedure. You need a search warrant.
Also, we still don't know who actually made this 911 call around 3:40 this afternoon and first reported that. So still,
So somebody made a 911 call around 3:40.
It's still only a few hours underway, Jory and Liz.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of homicides, of murders. I have never heard of the LAPD saying that they needed standing to enter the residence where a potential double murder has taken place. This is, they need to come back with a warrant to investigate a potential double murder.
They have to have a warrant to go into the house if the bodies are in the house?
And I don't have the California law right in front of me, but typically, usually how I understand it is if somebody is allowed access into a home, the homeowner or somebody who has a right to that property, they can't enter, right? You don't necessarily need a search warrant if you have permission to enter. But there is the possibility that we don't know who the deceased is. The owners of the home.
Well, the owners can't exactly give consent if they're lying on the floor dead.
Deputy Chief answered that question was saying, we don't want to get in the home and then be told to have to leave after these forensic teams are already in. The Deputy Chief also said...
Maybe they are in the home and they're still lying there dead.
It should be very soon. So regardless of the circumstances and the situation, those detectives will likely be inside that home very, very soon.
So maybe the bodies aren't outside. Maybe the bodies are in the home. Then how would they get the report that they're stabbed to death if they can't get inside the house?
I also thought that it was interesting. Someone said they didn't, the deputy chief rather said that he didn't.
See, when I come in on things like this, it's always after the fact. The people are usually already 6 feet under.
And what are you hearing from people who live there?
There is a crowd here, Liz, but a lot of it are people who just kind of came from far away to have a look here. We haven't been able to speak to any neighbors.
God, there's just so much, there's so much crazy history in Brentwood. The house that we worked in, at the Peter Lorre estate, I swear to God, that place was haunted. That house has since been torn down. Some entertainment executive bought it and did a rebuild and put an LA mega mansion on it. And it was creepy as fuck. Excuse my language, but I'm going to say it again. It was creepy as fuck to work at that place at night. Oh my God. And we had these exterior alarms, and sometimes the alarms would go off in the house. And I would be in the house with some of the owner of the company's kids late at night. And I would just tell the kids oh, it's just the wind just set off the alarm. But I knew that it wasn't the wind. And this was when the OJ thing was going on. And this house was literally one house past ours, 1 block away. And he could come down that hill. And I knew it wasn't him. But the alarms would go off, and I would look out the window, and there would be nobody there. And the kids would be like, oh my, one of the kids would freak out and say, close all the drapes because the coyotes are going to come and get us. And I would just have to keep it together and just pray that the owner, he was a cop who had shot 8 people and killed 5. So he wasn't afraid to pull the trigger. And I knew where all the weapons were. I knew the combinations to every safe in every room, how to get to, guns and ammo if I had to. But I didn't want to have to do that with the kids there. And I was a detective, but sometimes at night I would stay with the kids. And I practically lived in Brentwood. That's why I wish I knew about the Sally Struthers estate and that she was renting rooms down the street, because it would have helped me tremendously. But it was so creepy there at night. And then there would be weird things that would happen in the house that could never be explained. It was just so creepy. And then the OJ thing happened, and then even Phyllis Diller, her house over there, she said was totally haunted. And I don't know what it is about that part of Brentwood. There's just so much. And I usually don't believe in stuff like that, but I'm telling you that it's just like the hills in Sherman Oaks, and it's just the history. Yeah, well, the leather glove won't go on your hand when you're wearing a rubber surgical glove on your hand, because we used to have those for some of the things I had to search. So I put on a rubber glove like that, and then try to put on a regular glove over it, and it won't fit if you're wearing a rubber glove underneath. it won't let you put it, your fingers won't fit into it because you have the rubber glove on. So his bare hand wasn't, they didn't put his bare hand into the glove, they put his gloved hand into the glove and it wouldn't fit.
That we have right now, and sometimes it just takes, these officers have the same questions that we have right now. And sometimes
Oh, wow.
time,
I don't know anything about Old Man Jim. You're gonna have to tell me about that. I mean, I know he was the one who built the house, but I don't know who he was or anything about that.
and, you know, we are about 5 hours since this all unfolded, but in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, later, Jeffrey. I'm sorry I missed you.
So we're still in the very initial phases here. So I think one thing that he was,
I know. That's so bogus. No, I know people in the sheriff's department, and you know, he confessed at LA County Jail, and I actually know who he confessed to. It was somebody famous, and they can't admit it into evidence. And there's a reason it can't be admitted, but he, in the jail, he did confess during a phone call, and they were not allowed to admit it into the evidence of the trial because of the nature of the person that he was speaking to. It had to be kept confidential.
Yeah, this part of town is home to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In large estates here, we see the different buildings.
Oh, he was on the show Railroad Alaska? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't see that show. But I used to watch a lot of the Alaska shows.
You are at least a block away.
So he owned the property before you did, and then he passed before you guys bought it?
if you can zoom as close as you can to those flashing lights, because that's as close as we can get. We don't have a good vantage point. You guys probably have a much better view from Air 7 than we do actually on the ground here, because we are a good distance away from the Reiner household. And also, Liz, you were
Oh, I just don't understand what's going on. But the rumor is that it's Rob and it's his wife, Michelle.
there is a Reiner household across the street as well. You don't know what connection at all to those people.
And they said there's a Reiner household across the street. It's probably Tracy Reiner.
From their perspective, that's one of the things that remains a mystery, to at least us right now. But yeah, as you can see, guys, we're pretty far away.
I wonder if she was the one who went over there and discovered them.
So we can't give you a good kind of insight.
I just know that his in-laws live down the street from me. His former mother-in-law, I think she's still alive. I'll have to look that up. Is Gary Marshall's wife still alive? I know his son Scott is still alive and his other son. And one of the sons actually lives in the house because I've seen him many times. The house looks like it should be in a Harry Potter movie. It's really bizarro.
It's very important to point out, Mayor Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and now Governor Gavin Newsom.
Oh, okay. Was Nancy his wife, and then she sold it to another guy, and a few years later you bought it from. So the guy in the house is the one that was on the show Railroad Alaska, and he built it. Oh, and speaking of that house, if you're still here, Rob, I did make a comment. You said to put comments on your latest video where you talked about that. Was that, when you showed the earthquake in the morning, you said that was a dramatization. Was that like an AI dramatization of what had happened earlier that morning? Or was that the actual, or was that just a dramatization? In other words, was that a recreation of what happened earlier that morning on Thanksgiving? Oh, okay. But you know, I was so worried about Sarah because she was worried she was trying to get the dogs and you were trying to grab her, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, it's a dramatization. But basically that's what happened. And you know, I know you have a lot on your plate and you have a lot of decisions to make, but if you saw the comment I made, I was just, you know, I wasn't trying to be negative. I just want to think about you. I think of you guys as friends, and I just want you and Sarah and the dogs to be safe. And when you did that little exercise where you were jumping, but you didn't even, your feet never left the ground, you were just moving your knees like this, and the house was swaying, and I could actually see it on camera. I could see it, like that house is swaying while you're just standing there moving like this. And I was like, oh my God, that's not safe. Like if that happened here, like we would have to get out. I would have like probably 15 minutes, and I'd have to just grab, you know, my animals and their stuff, and that would be it. Like they would be like, get out now. And hopefully my car wouldn't be crushed out in the carport area. They just reinforced it. And while they were reinforcing, we had a couple of quakes, and one was right down the street. Like literally I was almost on top of the fault. And I was like, dang. And it was like a freight train coming. I could hear it coming. Like, Like, whoa, like, and it wasn't that big. It was a 3 something, but when you're on top of the fault, you know, and that was a 6, so. You used Da Vinci. So that was it basically like AI that showed? Yeah, you don't need to build a big house. But I just, you know, you were saying that it would probably withstand maybe up to a 6, but 7 earthquakes happen all the time in Alaska. Occasionally, I mean, they haven't had a 9 since 1964. It was before I was born, but I think it was it Good Friday, 1964, they had the 9? Oh, it was a form of editing. Okay, wow. See, you should, if I had you to come down here and edit my videos, maybe I could get, you know, we'd get something going on YouTube here. I have no talent for this. 0, zip, nada. I just do it because I like it. Yeah, you have a beautiful property up there. And it probably wouldn't take that long to build like a second house. And I think you have a good idea, like to build it a little further back from the cabin. And you could even start building that while the other house is still standing. Oh, you've had a few over the years. Okay. But, I'm just worried about you in the meantime, because you said Phyllis and Adam are living. Are they in that cabin every day? Because I don't even know. I don't know much about them. I know that they're building a house near your property, I believe, in the area that you live in Alaska. But, I don't know, does that guy like have a job somewhere? And I know they lived in a camper for a while, or they have a camper or a trailer or something like that. Are they there all the time? Or are they just there like when they're building? And I know that in the winter, there's not much construction that can be done because of the ground is frozen. And, winter is still a few days away. I mean, the worst weather is yet to come. Oh, okay. So they have a house in Willow. I know where that is, actually. And he works, when you say the slope, you mean the northern slope? Adam and Phyllis are in the little cabin for a few weeks at a time. Okay. Is he in the oil business up on the northern slope? You don't have to say if it's personal or private. I understand. And they have a house in Willow. Is Willow, that's down near Wasilla? Oh, he works for the oil companies. Oh, okay. Yeah, isn't Willow near like Palmer and Wasilla? Okay. They call that the Matsu Valley. It's about an hour north of Anchorage, I think. So this cabin that they're building, is that on your property, or is it near your property? I mean, did they buy land too? And are they going to live there full time, or is that just going to be like a cabin in the woods for them? Or maybe even a retirement place. They seem like super nice people. Oh, it'll be a full-time home. Oh, nice. And on that property, Rob, how far are you from the water? Like, is there a lake near you where you can go fishing in the summer? And yeah, they seem like super nice people. I just pick up good vibes from them. I don't know them as well, I feel, as I know you and Sarah. But they just seem really nice. That'll be so nice to have your friends so close by. Yeah, I didn't know they had a house in Willow. 1 mile to the Susutna River, we have a creek that touches our land and a spring a half mile away. So that creek that touches your land, can you go gold prospecting in that creek? Because that's what I would be doing, even if somebody had to carry me out there. As well as a lake 3/4 of a mile away. Yes, I prospect the creeks. Oh, see, that's my dream. You know, I want to have a bucket about this. I have a Home Depot bucket in my garage that I used to use for magnet fishing. And I would like, even if I could just fill it halfway, if somebody could fill that with dirt. Unsearched, you know, just dirt and rock. And I could just set that bucket, like literally next to my front door, cover it up, because I know my cat would want to dig in it because she's fascinated by the gold panning. She's fascinated by the dirt. She'd have that everywhere. But I would love to order like a bucket of dirt from Alaska and have it come to my door. You do not have a lot, but need to find the sluice system to dig in to find the good spots. Oh, wow, that would be so fun. But yeah, you know, don't stress out over the house. I'm worried about, like, can you live in the house now while you're waiting to build a smaller home on the land? And I know that Adam and Phyllis, at some point, they're going to be in their place, but their place isn't built yet. So I don't know how much longer they're going to be, you know, living in your cabin. And is that cabin too small for all 4 of you? Like, what do you do in the meantime? House will be fine for a bit. They will be into a livable shelter by spring. So you could move into your own cabin then back in next spring. I just think the ground there and everything that's happened seems too unstable, but I'm not a civil engineer. It's a beautiful house, but, you know, my feeling is that it's got to go. It's got, and you'll still be on that beautiful land and have all that acreage, and you'll have everything that you have now, but you'll just have a smaller cabin. It's just, you know, where do you put everything? You know, how do you get the materials out there? I mean, I guess you could always have some stuff dropped by helicopter, but I know that's probably costly. You know, do you have the right equipment to even build the pilings into the ground and the foundation? And it's not like you could just call a concrete truck to come and put a concrete foundation down, you know? It's too far off the grid. Okay, so everything will go into the barn, and you will reuse all that you have there, okay? And you can see Denali from your property on a clear day? Enough to build a cabin or 2. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, there's this girl I just started watching, and she's in one of the small islands off of Vancouver Island, and it's a private island. And she's a young woman, like in her 40s, I think. And she lives out there by herself, and she's completely remote, and it's off the grid too. And but she's a young woman, single woman with a dog, and there's somebody else that owns it, and they have like an Airbnb cabin up there too. But it's not occupied like in the wintertime, and the only way to get there is by ocean. That's the only way. And, you know, it's quite a ride in a little teeny boat. They're like on a main passageway where like the cruise ships come through to go up to Alaska and stuff, and it's just like, you couldn't pay me. I mean, I know you're a boat guy, but you couldn't pay me to get in some little boat off a little dock on a private island and go, you know, 20, 30 miles across open ocean to get to the next island to, you know, go to the store. Oh my God, what is her name? I'll send you the name. It's her name is Amanda, but it's like, There's so many channels that have similar names. It's a young woman. She's Canadian. She's super nice. She's like you. She can't even get mail. Yeah, it's terrific. She's terrific, and I'm thinking, how do these bears and wolves get on her island? And apparently, the bears can swim, and they swim from island to island. So sometimes the bears are there, and sometimes they're not. And now she's got wolves, and she's out there. Like sometimes the owner comes, like in the summer, to work on the property. And sometimes people rent the Airbnb, but much of the winter she's by herself. And I would be so freaked out. It's like the woman, I'm sure you know her, alone in Alaska, or alone off the, what is the lady? Her name is, they call her Alone. And she's a single female by herself, the blonde lady. Oh, she's talking about the wolves and the bears like swimming. That's how they get to the different islands, because she's and she doesn't say where she is, but I've already figured it out. But so I'm not going to say it here, but I can't even think of the name right now. I have it in my phone where she's actually at. And she tells people like, yeah, you guys could probably figure it out. And I've pretty much figured it out. But it's very close to Vancouver Island. And she's named like some of the closest little other islands that she goes to get her mail, or her Amazon, or like her groceries. Like and her boat doesn't even work right now. So when the owner comes, she borrows his boat. And sometimes it gets all fogged out. It looks like the weather's clear, but then she gets out there in the water, and she's out in the ocean, and there's whales. Like she could hit a darn whale. There's orcas and humpbacks. And then all of a sudden she'll be like, oh, I can't see, and a cruise ship could run me over. And she has to turn around and go back. And she's like, or she'll run out of gas before she gets to her dock, and she'll have to call a neighbor from another island and go, I just ran out of gas and I'm almost back. And, it's like, oh my God. And she has to chop wood, and she knows how to fix motors and engines. And just like your property, there's generators, and it's like, because there's no electricity. There's no running water. There's no electricity. I think everything is a well. Yes. I've actually seen orcas. I've seen them in Malibu. Yeah. And I haven't seen them as close up as I see the dolphins, like when I would like detect in the ocean in Santa Monica, and they're like literally like, you could almost reach out and touch the dolphins. I've seen the sharks and the dolphins, and even the baby sharks have swum by me. But I've seen the orcas once on my birthday out in Malibu, and it was just like incredible. I see a lot of the sea lions out there too. But I will contact you. I gotta find your email, or if you send me your phone number, I'll text it to you. I thought about, every time I watch this woman, I think about you, and I think about Sarah, and I'm like, you guys should know each other. You would be absolutely fascinated by her, and she's fantastic at this YouTube. She's fantastic. They have these little spotted leopard sharks out there that are so cute. Oh my God. The biggest sharks I've ever seen have been in Alabama and Florida. Like, oh my God. I would never step into the water there. I almost drowned in Fort Walton Beach, Florida once in the undertow. And I was not even in the water up to my knees. I was literally on the shore, and the undertow sucked me out. And then in Alabama, there was a big old shark that was gigantic, like Jaws, and it was coming up right behind me, and my mom saw it, and she couldn't say anything, and I saw the look on her face, and I was like, what is it? And I swam towards her, and I said, oh, those are just dolphins. And she's like, that was no dolphin. And then it went under and it never came back. And I was like, oh my God, because they had closed the beach. We were down there on a trip at Gulf Shore, so they closed the beach for like 3 days, and on our last day, they're like, okay, everything is clear. And apparently it wasn't. And I got into the water and it was like right behind me, this big giant fin. So I've almost, you know, the shark, if he wanted to eat me, would have and didn't. But the undertow thing, that was even more scary. That was in Florida. And I was like, I've been freaked out about the ocean ever since. And my dad, he built warships for a living. And I've been on warships, but all of them have been at port. I've been in a boat in the Gulf of Mexico near Mississippi, near where that alien thing happened in the 70s. But I don't like, I'm a beach person, but I don't like being on boats in the ocean. If I'm in a lake on a boat, I'm fine. I'm fine. But you cannot get me on a cruise ship ever. I don't know, there must be something from a prior life that has to do with ships or boats, specifically on the ocean. Just horrifies me. And everybody I know that I grew up with was in the Navy, you know, and still, no. I do not want to be out on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Oh yeah, that happens a lot. One of the guys who used to work for me was a surfer, so like, they see him all the time. Yeah, I'll try to send you a message somehow after this. I got to do my whatnot shipping. I got to take my night blood pressure meds soon. So I'm going to get off now. And I'm very sad about, it looks like, the death of Rob Reiner and his wife. Life is short, folks. Enjoy every day. But I'll get that to you, Rob. You've got to see this girl. Her name is Amanda. She doesn't give a last name. It might be Amanda Off Grid. It's something like that. And she's on an island north of Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada, living on an island completely alone with the bears and the wolves. Email is in our YouTube profile. Reach out, April. Yeah, okay. Well, if I don't talk to you, Rob, before my whenever surgery, I probably will, because they'll probably say, you know, like, oh, you have to wait 2 months or whatever. I hope not. I just would rather them say, hey, we got a spot, and if you just do this test and this test, we can just get it done. And then I'll figure out after I do it how I'm going to eat and how I'm going to get food and how I'm going to take care of my animals and how I'm going to get to the x-rays afterwards and get the drain yanked. And if I have to pull it out myself, I will. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Ugh. Thanks for coming. I'm sorry this was, you know, the video was so shitty here, but I was in the middle of a whatnot and then all this happened, so my voice is thrashed now and I got to do my whatnot shipping. And poor Rob Reiner. What a way to go. I wish I could say that I hope this isn't true, but sadly, it looks like it is. And just, you guys, you know, please stay safe in that house, you know. It would be like living here in California and saying, well, you know, but maybe an earthquake won't happen. Well, it will. And there's even more of a chance it happens in Alaska. And I just, you know, I want you to be safe. Yeah, I just want you to be safe, Rob. And Sarah. And the dogs. Like, I just don't want anything to happen to you guys. It's your safety has to be first. No house is worth your life. You still have your property. You can always build a smaller cabin, or, you know, doesn't have to be the end of your property. It's just the house has to go probably. Okay. And when it just takes one. That's the thing. It just takes one. And, you know, I want you guys to have many, many happy years there. I don't want anything to happen to you guys. I mean, you guys, you know, I haven't met you in person, but you guys feel like friends, and And, you know, safety first, and, you know, love you guys, and I just want everything to be okay, and don't get depressed over this, you know. You guys have so much to be thankful for, and I know it sucks, but, you know, when you first said that you heard popping, like, I thought that's not good. That's not good. When the quake happened and you heard something, you heard pops, I was like, oh no. And I didn't know that the house had a wood foundation. But yeah, I guess they couldn't call the concrete truck to come off the grid, you know? Oh, wow. Well, that video was great, how you did that scene, because I thought I was looking at the real thing, and then you said it was a dramatization. I'm like, how did he do that? Like, I mean, hell, I don't even know how to use OBS. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't even know how to use that. Yeah, I will. I'm going to send you the thing about, I think it's Amanda off grid, but I'll send it to you. Let me just, I got to go give my rabbit a treat. She's been so good. And the cat's actually been good too, which never happens. And I got to take pills at 9:45 my time, and then I got to do 2 shipments on whatnot, because they got to go out tomorrow. I'll be in the cardiology office on Tuesday dealing with the next issue. So you guys please stay safe. Yeah, did you get, when I sent you the card, and I think you said you got the card, did you get the kitty picture? Did I send you a kitty picture? Or did I just send you a card? What did you actually get? Because I don't have my notes in front of me right now. Okay, yeah, and I still have the bunny, but I just didn't get her pictures made yet. So I'll have to put something up online. And okay, I'm gonna get off, everybody, and everybody pray for Rob and Michelle Reiner. Thank you for coming.